lot of us are, we spend a lot of time focusing on the powerful few people who run this planet and keep things for themselves, like the T3RB, and work to keep the rest of us slaving away, distracted, dumbed down, blocked from our awareness of our true power, our true nature. We call them the Illuminati, the world order, the dark cabal, the elite, etc.
Yeah.
What is our best defense against them?
One thing really that people like that are actually able to control is information. And they don't actually have as much power as you might think. But what they've done is they have very cleverly used fear in people and the choice to focus on fear-based conspiracies in people to make it appear as if they actually have more power than they do. And therefore, they control the information that makes them seem so powerful that there's nothing we can do about it. The big secret is they're not as powerful as you think, but they're using every means in their disposal to control information to make themselves seem more powerful than they are. And when people fall into the fear-based conspiracy theories too far, they're actually one of the best assets that those people have, because those people are making them seem more powerful than they are by talking about how afraid they are of what these people are capable of doing, and they don't actually have that kind of power. That's the illusion.
So what do we do?
We focus on the things that are representative of what we prefer. We focus on systems that we prefer. We create the systems that we prefer to replace the systems that we don't. It's not about fighting against those people who are operating on a negative wavelength. It's about understanding that they're operating out of fear, they're operating out of a perspective of lack, that there isn't enough to go around, and we know that's not true. But we have to behave as if we know that's not true. We can't play their game of fear. We can't play their game of there isn't enough. We have to start creating the systems that demonstrate that there is enough. We have to start making the changes politically, socially, economically, whatever area of our lives we want to, that demonstrate what we believe to be true, that there is enough for everyone, that everyone has the ability to be self-empowered, that there will not be anarchy just because people are being allowed to be the individuals they truly are. And we have to start really redefining and reinventing ourselves in a much more positive light. And if we start really taking that to heart and start putting that out there more and more strongly, which is happening slowly, they will simply not be able to survive in that light. Now, eventually, what's also happening is because, again, we're all shifting to different parallel realities billions of times a second. It's not even that we're changing the world when we change, when we think about changing them or changing something in the world. We're not actually changing the world we were in. We're shifting to a new parallel Earth that is simply more representative of the change we've made in ourselves. And eventually, the more we do that, we'll simply occupy parallel versions of Earth that simply don't contain people of an incompatible vibration. And eventually, we will no longer experience them. But the longer we choose to succumb to the fear-based ideas that they can control us, the longer we keep shifting into parallel versions of Earth that are simply reflective of the idea that they control everything. So we can shift away from that, but we have to create and generate that state of being for ourselves first and offer them an opportunity to also understand that they don't have to be fear-based, that there is enough for everyone, and that it's a world that can be created with everyone in it that supports the total whole, and it's not just about the few getting what they need because there's not enough for anyone else. That's simply not a definition of a world that works. so, we have to generate and live by the definition of a world that does work, and that will make all the difference.
So we want to choose a world where they're no longer in power over us, where people aren't in power over people, where they no longer mar our skies with chemtrails, they no longer feed us lies through the media, hide truths that belong to all of us. Many of us, we believe that we've been actively choosing that world.
Yeah, but the thing of it is most people really don't. The only reason that people like that exist is because we're giving them our power. You are your government, and if you are afraid of taking power yourself, and you're afraid of looking within yourself and facing even some of the things that you've compartmentalized in your own consciousness, then you're going to be giving your power away to someone who says they're going to do it for you. And the more you do that, well, this is what you wind up with. You wind up with people who are more than happy to run your life for you. But when you really, truly start taking your power back, it makes all the difference in the world. But, they're going to fight against that because we've put them in the position of telling them that we believe we need them to take care of us. But once we start really understanding what it means to be self-responsible, and once we explain and start acting like and giving examples of the reality that there is enough for everyone and start creating systems that reflect that, then they will see that they have no place in that world, and they will either have to choose to change or they will simply have to choose to go away. So it's really up to us, again, to direct whatever our experience of that is. Because if we really truly understand that each of us is our own reality, then there is no one who can do anything to us. We're doing it to ourselves by simply agreeing with what it is they're offering us. So we have to take responsibility back for experiencing whatever it is we're experiencing, because the only way we can experience it is to create it in our own reality.
I walk out the house in the morning, and I look at the sky, and I see a plane laying down a fresh chemtrail across the sky that I didn't want to see.
Yes.
And I want to see it stop. In that moment.
Okay. Well, let me stop you there. Let me stop you there. Why do you need to see it stop?
Oh, well, I guess I would say that I need to see it stop because it's, dumping toxins on my planet that is killing plants and trees and affecting me.
Okay, and that's not a reality that you prefer, correct?
Oh, definitely correct.
Okay, but it's not about judging that reality as being less than the reality you prefer. Otherwise, that's what anchors you to that reality. Because when consciousness expands, the expansion of consciousness is not about excluding things, it's about including things. So you can come from a neutral position of saying, that is something I do not prefer. At the same time, that doesn't mean that we have to devalue it and dismiss it and negatively judge it, because if we negatively judge it as being less valuable than what it is we prefer, we're actually staying in that negative energy. So it's all about looking at that and going, okay, I can objectively see that there are people that are in this reality that are choosing those things. I prefer not to. So the first step is to understand that since that is not the world I know I prefer, step number one is I know that no matter what it is I see other people doing, it doesn't affect me. It does not affect my world negatively. In fact, the only thing that will happen from anything I see anyone else doing is I'm going to get a positive benefit out of it. Now, the positive benefit might be bringing it to other people's attention that it's not necessarily beneficial for them either, and helping them understand how they may be able to take actions to make certain kinds of changes within themselves to not do those kinds of things. But nevertheless, it's not about falling under the fear that there is a negative effect in your reality, because there is no physical reality other than your definition of it. So when you define something in your reality as negative, you're only going to be able to get a negative effect from it. But if you define it as positive for you, even if you can objectively observe that someone else may be creating it for a negative reason, then you stay in your power, you're not negatively affected, and that gives you the power to go do something positive about that without feeling like you are a victim of it.
You know, it is a conundrum for people who want to see those things change, and, you know, we concentrate on an outcome that we want that doesn't include those things, and we still continue to see these things.
Right, but you see, this is exactly what I was talking about in terms of the idea of controlling information, because when a populace is taught to react to those things in a fear-based way, they are doing exactly what those people want them to do. Because when you react to something in a fear-based way, it disempowers you from doing anything about it. When a populace is taught to react to those things in a fear-based way, they are doing exactly what those people want them to do. Because when you react to something in a fear-based way, it disempowers you from doing anything about it.